Y'all hear me? Oh, yeah. Hey, here I am. I think we're going to get the last few folks in the door here. We'll shut the doors, and you guys are all locked in here with me for the next 45 minutes. So I'm Vince Smith. I'm a program manager on the Azure Active Directory team. It's a team, we call it the engine room. I'm in the MSODS team. It's the Microsoft Online Data Services team. So we own the core directory and up through Graph and all of that. And I own the authorization for the core directory. So I own the admin roles and the permissions model for the directory itself. Before we get started, though, I wanted to ask, how many of y'all are expected to write a trip report when you get back on Monday? I am. Alex told me I need to have a trip report Monday. Cool. So don't worry about it right now. Okay, I've got a slide at the very end of the deck that has all the highlights and all the points for your trip report. So just relax, sit back, and hang out. And I promise it's not like a bunch of marketing fluff. It's like here's where we're at, here's where we're going, all that. So I was thinking about I have 45 minutes, and I was thinking about in 45 minutes, what do I want to get across, or what's the thing I want everyone to take home? And obviously, I can't talk about everything and under the sun that we're working on and things like that. But if there's one thing, it's, hey, how do you go reduce the number of global admins at your organization, right? And it's just a super, super important thing. And why is it? It's because, well, as we all know, global admins are it's the keys to the kingdom, right? These are the global admin role provides access to effectively everything across Microsoft's enterprise cloud, from resetting anyone's password, going and digging through Exchange or eDiscovery, really the whole suite. So it's super, super important that we have as few global admins as possible, right? Because we talked about here a lot during this conference about the threats due to passwords and things like this. So there's definitely how do we protect accounts themselves, but then if you assume breach, then once an account is compromised, the idea is to limit what that account can do, right? So the global admin is the opposite of that, right? If you can break into your global admin account, you've effectively pawned the organization. So with that in mind, how many of you back in your organization have 5 global admins or less? That's pretty good. That's actually better than I expected. 10 or more? All right. Don't know? Don't want to say? All right. So we recommend 5 or fewer. If you can get it to 2, you've got a gold star, right? You want to get to 2 of those break glass accounts, right? The accounts you only use when you really, really need them. If you can get there, you've done it. But it doesn't always work that way, right? And I'm going to tell a story that I hear from customers, and let me know if this resonates with you, is that a company comes to Microsoft's cloud because a CIO or some executive writes Microsoft this big check, right? And they say, hey, help us go turn off all of our Exchange servers, right? We're tired of hardware. Move all our mailboxes out to the cloud. And they go, great, right? Here's a big check, a bunch of money I'm going to give to Microsoft. And they turn to their IT department and they say, okay, guys, you got 6 months to move every mailbox on-prem into the cloud, right? Go, right? And the IT department scrambles, right? You go through this sort of big storming phase of trying to get, AD Connect set up. You get your identity system set up, you get Exchange set up, and during that time, the authorization and access control isn't the highest priority, right? It's really how do you get this thing provisioned? How do you go through demos and prototypes and dog fooding and slowly getting to that place? And at the end of the 6 months, you get somewhere where you say, woo, we did it, and then either your CSO or some super competent IT admin wakes up in the middle of the night and they say, oh, wow, right? Like we got everything set up, but where are we right now from a security perspective, right? How many admins do we have? Who has access to what? Does that sound familiar? Does that resonate at all, sort of? Some folks? What's interesting is that's actually, Microsoft IT actually went through kind of a similar story. Obviously, we didn't write the big check, but we do a lot of dog fooding. We do a lot of even in our own internal systems, our own employees and our email and all of that. And so there was a point about 2 years ago at Microsoft where we had way too many global admins. I won't say, but it was a very, very large number. Random people from the product teams, everybody under the sun, right? Because as we had gone through these phases, we had pulled in specialists and things like that. And so I'm going to talk through for the next 40 minutes or so. I'm going to talk through kind of the features and things that we have available, but I also want to walk through how Microsoft IT, MSIT, use those products and features that we have to get us out of crazy town, right? Because that's kind of where we were about 2 years ago. I mean, hopefully that's helpful for you, and you could see not only, hey, here's a bunch of products and things you can use, but hey, here's actually how you go use them in a real-world case. So, like I said, about 2 years ago, we were in this spot, and how did we start? Like, how do you even start to tackle that is we realized that we couldn't just pull everyone's global admin credentials, right? Because you have a business to run, you're trying to get stuff done, and people have permissions, and so you need to come up with a way to just pull out the people who don't need it anymore, and then try to limit the admin permissions of everyone else who still needs some permissions. So we started with asking ourselves, why are people global admins in the first place? And I've come up with three. I'm happy to talk with folks afterwards if you've got more. These are the three that I've heard over and over again, is that people are added to the global admin role typically during that storming phase of deployment because their specialty was needed for some particular thing. We didn't have time to go figure out the permissions model, but they no longer need it anymore. Right? The second is that either because it was easier or because the role didn't exist at the time, someone was granted a global admin role, but there's actually now lesser roles available today. And then the third is there's no alternative, right? And this is the one that kills me, right? As the product guy, this is the one that on a very personal level is really painful, right? Because there still are places in the product where you need to be a global admin to really do some configuration. And I'll talk more about that later. But with that framework in mind, we came up with this plan on how are we going to get to a more secure place? It really came down to understanding when and why people are using the global admin role, and then removing anyone who isn't actively using that, right? Like you said, these people who maybe were more consultants who came in, worked on a project, and now, right, now that it's deployed and stable, those people don't need it anymore. And then moving the remaining people who do need some admin permissions to lesser roles. And who's familiar with PIM, with Privileged Identity Management? Awesome. So it turns out PIM is a super, super useful tool for doing just this. And MSIT leveraged it heavily. And I'll show you, let me pop over my demo machine here, and I'll show you how, let me log in, how we used PIM. Come on, demo can't fail me this early. So let me show you how we use PIM to get out of crazy town at MSIT. So here I am just in the standard, I'm in the Azure AD portal, right? You guys all know this. And we have this new blade here, roles and administrators. So we just introduced this a few months back. This gives you a visual of all the roles that are available in your tenant. And I can click through to the global admin role. And you can see in my demo here, oh, wow, right, I got lots of global admins. So let's just take the first one, Bianca. And I'm going to move Bianca to from what's called permanent to eligible role members, to a global role member. How I'll do that is I'm going to go into PIM, and in PIM, I can take Bianca out of that global admin role, so she doesn't have permission. She doesn't have her standing global admin access. She can't go do global admin things all the time. She's a standard user. But she can go request it, and then it's auto-approved, and great, she's back. And I'll walk through some different options there as well. But how we do that is we go into PIM, and there's this little icon called Make Eligible. And you'll see that her assignment type is going to change from permanent to eligible. And Now let's log in as Bianca. And I'll say, as I'm walking through this, when we did this at Microsoft, we obviously let everyone know, right? People who were global admins, we said, hey, look, we're going to, we get the MFA code. We said, hey, we're going to move you from permanent global admin to a elevated global admin. And here's the steps on how you're going to go request access. You're going to go to PIM and do these things. And it was very well received. The people who said, hey, I don't necessarily want the keys to the kingdom all the time. Show me how to do a better way. Great. Love it. So here we are as Bianca. So now that I've moved Bianca from permanent to eligible, Bianca's actually just a standard user at this moment. She goes into PIM. Oh, and she goes to My Roles. And then from here, she can activate into the global admin role. So when she activates, she's going to type in, hey, need to update some enterprise apps, right? And how it's configured right now is that when she hits activate here, that it actually auto-approves, and she's just added to the global admin role. PIM has a way to change that so you can actually require approval. Right, you can make it so when she clicks activate here, a notification is sent out to some approval group, and then someone goes and approves, and only then is she added to the global admin role. But we actually left it this way at first in MSIT in order to get people just used to this idea of, hey, there's this small bit of friction for you in this thing called PIM. And then once we get people accustomed to that, you slowly, right, keep ratcheting it down more and more and more. So from here now, it was activated. Or, is it being activated? Oh boy, it'll be activated. I'm looking at Steve over there. And when it is, then she'll have that access. And when she doesn't need it anymore, then she will deactivate, or she'll lose her permissions after an hour, which is what the timeout is set for this particular role. So let me switch back over to my slides. So we take a look at real quick at what that gets us, right? What PIM, just that simple little bit of friction that we just went and introduced into Bianca or anyone's workflow. What it gives us is it actually gives us now, because Bianca had to type in a reason, and because she had to actually go do something proactive in order to be a global admin, it helps us now understand when and why people are using the global admin role. And that's super, super important to understand, hey, who's not using it? So at MSIT, what we did was we said, hey, anyone who hadn't activated the role in the last 6 months, you're just out, right? Just clean it up. And we cleaned up a whole bunch of deadwood. Right, we just cleaned everybody out and said, okay, if you didn't activate in the last 6 months, then you probably needed it at some point, but not anymore. And what that left us with is just a set of people who had activated in the role, and it gave us some basic indication as to why they activated. Right? Well, what is it they needed to do? So for those people, we came up with another plan, right, for how to go about moving them from the global admin into a lesser role. And granted, there's a bit of art to this, right? The idea is that based on the what reasoning they put in terms of the elevation and following up with them and having that understanding, taking that and comparing it against the permissions of one of the alternate roles, you can in general figure out, okay, here's a role that may help, or maybe several roles, because a user can have multiple role assignments, that makes sense for what this person is trying to do. And then you move them to that, and you again, lock it down with PIM, right? Because that's how we did, at least at MSIT, is every role had to be elevated to. And then you just validate that, right? So let me go. Oh, so let me see here real quick. Sorry. So that brings us to what other roles are available, right? So what other roles are available besides the global admin? We have 29 roles outside of the global admin available in Azure AD today. And of those, 12 of them we introduced just this year. Right? So we're really accelerating our approach into building out more granularity in the directory in terms of that authorization. We have a bunch more coming in the next few months by the end of the year, and we'll just continue to move forward on all those roles. Highlights of some of the roles that we introduced over this last year: the application administrator role, which I'll talk more. I'll do a quick demo on in a minute. License administrator, to move out license management from the user account admin, where you can reset passwords and things. Message center reader, we're going to spend over the next several months building out more and more read-only roles. That's something we hear a lot from customers. And we have just brand new, just before the Ignite conference, we've got the Teams administrator. We actually have 4 roles around Teams to try to limit. That was one of those hot spots where we were leveraged on the global admin for a long time, and we fixed that now. So, and I just want to, not just the new roles we've done this year, but I just wanted to highlight, apologies for somewhat of an eye chart, but I just wanted to get across this point that there are lots of roles that are available for you to use besides global admin. And MSIT, our IT department, leveraged all of these roles and others when they were moving people out of that global admin role and into delegated roles. And in one case in particular that was super painful up until a couple months ago was application management, managing enterprise apps in the directory. That required global admin in order to provision Salesforce or go manage SSO or do things around applications, required global admin. So about 2-3 months ago, we introduced a set of roles around application management. Let me demo here. What I will do is, let's see if, real quick, I'm going to, this is the demo gods have bit me a little bit here, but hopefully I can get back. So I'm just finishing up the last demo where Bianca deactivates out of the global admin role. And then once she has deactivated, then I can go back over and I can, so here I am I'm a global admin in this window, and I can go to PIM, and under Azure AD roles, I can manage roles, and we can find the application administrator role. And just real quick before I finish this demo, I just wanted to show one of the additions that we did when we built this UI for showing the roles. Is we have obviously this members tab for adding in and removing members to the role. And we added this other tab for description, which shows you a summary of the role as well as permissions included in the role. And the permissions are just documentation right now, but there's an effort underway to support customized roles, customer-defined roles. So you can imagine that at some point in the not-too-distant future, you'll be able to take these permissions that are on the left-hand side, and they'll look very similar to that, and you'll be able to organize them into your own roles that you build that are specific for your organization, the permissions that are just right for the kinds of personas that are doing things in your organization. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Bianca. There's my demo backup account. So we're going to move Bianca over to the app admin role. So I'll add her here. And there she is. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to remove her from the global admin role. I don't necessarily need to do this, but this is what we would do at MSIT. And we would remove. So now Bianca is eligible to join the app admin role, but no longer eligible to join the global admin role. So if I move over here to Bianca, I can come back here, refresh. Active roles. Refresh eligible role, and you can see there's the application administrator role. So it used to be global admin. Since I changed it, now it's application admin. And Bianca can activate into the app admin role, managing enterprise apps. She will activate, and if all goes well in terms of replication, I should be able to go to PIM. There's a little shortcut here to refresh your token after elevating to a role. It takes sometimes a couple of minutes to get that refresh token if you go directly back over to the Azure AD blade. You can hit that link. It'll refresh your token, and you'll have the new admin role. Provided the demo, provided the demo folks upstairs are cooperating. Let me do one quick refresh. If not, I'm going to jump over to a different user. It's just simply a replication delay. Rather than making you guys sit here in awkward silence for the next 30 seconds, let me jump over to someone who's already an app admin. So from here, Bianca could go into, say, for instance, enterprise apps, and create a new application. Again, the whole point here is that she's not a global admin anymore. She's an application admin. She can, install Box, for example, and from Box, she can, she can configure single sign-on for Box. She can configure single sign-on on other apps. She can do. There's an interesting point I want to make. She can assign owners. And what an owner can do is that Bianca can add someone here on Box, and they become an owner for Box, which means that they're able to manage single sign-on, manage user access, manage even other owners for Box and only Box. Right? So they can't go to Salesforce or some other app and go manage permissions over there. And then lastly, Bianca can go to, in this case, I've got a Test App 2 here. And Test App 2 is actually an in-house app that was built that requests some delegated permissions for MS Graph. Right? And so what Bianca can do is she can actually go to the permissions tab. And this is not as a global admin, again, this is an application admin. And she can grant consent. It's actually Bob, sorry. Imagine Bob's Bianca. And she can hit accept. And from here, we should see now the app was granted the permissions it needed. So she's able to go do that. She's able to go actually consent to the app getting the permissions it needed from Graph without ever having to be a global admin. Pop back over. So just as a quick summary then, on what the app admin role can do is can create enterprise apps and app registrations, can manage all aspects of all applications in the directory. It can assign owners to apps who can then go manage just the owned apps. And it can consent for delegated permissions. It can't do things like, it's just a lot, but it can't do things like reset passwords or go into Exchange or go do other crazy things. So this is a really, really great role that Microsoft IT used to move a lot of people out of the global admin role. Right? They found that lots of people were just doing basic app management, and up until a couple of months ago, you needed to be a global admin in order to do that. So, to summarize kind of where Microsoft IT is today, with the combination of PIM and the various delegated roles, particularly the ones that we've released recently, they're able to eliminate all their standing global admin accounts. Except for 2 break glass accounts that that aren't used, and then they enforce PIM for all admin roles, so any permissions. And that was where we got about 2 years ago. And even since then, they have hardened their admin access even more. They use alternate accounts for all admin access. So if you're in MSIT, your email account, the account you're using every day, is separate from the one that you log into in order to do admin things in the directory or elsewhere. And those are all locked down from with PIM. And even further, fairly recently, they have restricted all admin logins to secure access workstations enforced with conditional access. So you need a separate account, and you log into a specific machine that's owned by you, that's locked down to only do a few things, and you log into that machine, and that's the only machine that the STS through conditional access will accept your login through. So we've really gotten to a place where we recommend, hey, there's a spectrum here, and obviously Microsoft is a high target organization, but a lot of you guys are as well. The closer you can get to this kind of a setup, the better. So with that, that's basically talking about all the things that we have done thus far and how you can leverage that. I do want to spend some time talking about big bets that are currently in progress. So the first one is kind of just as the one, it just sort of kills me, right? Is there's still places today in the directory that require global admin permissions. It's just not acceptable, right? It's just not, we're not satisfied with that, and that's our highest priority. A good example is credential management. This is something that we're working on right now, and it is, you should see some announcements and some new work here really, really soon around managing MFA, managing resetting credentials, all that kind of credential management stuff. As you've seen, like the Ignite is all about going passwordless, how you get the FIDO, how you do all of your credential management. So we're going to support that with a lot of granularity. Another big bet we're making is, like I mentioned previously, is around custom roles. So custom roles is this idea that you can build your own role using the underlying permissions that we support through the built-in roles today. And then we have a departmental scoping concept using administrative units. With departmental scoping, the idea is that you can take someone who, say, manages just a part of your organization, and you can grant them just access to do things like password resets or manage group membership or devices or applications for that part of the organization. So this is another big bet we're working on. Both of these we actually are, we should get to private preview fairly soon. We have a limited set of customers we're going to work with on that private preview. But if you're interested, just come find me. We can talk about it, and it's fairly high touch. So we're interested in people who are really, really interested in what custom roles and what that custom scoping can do for you. If you are, again, come talk to me. And then groups as members of roles. This is one that it seems like, wow, that seems to be so simple, right? You just have a group, you just add it as a member of a role. It turns out it's actually pretty complicated, both in the architecture, which is your concern, but also from the experience. So we're just working through making sure that we don't open up any strange elevation of privilege issues, right? We leverage groups so often across all of Azure AD for lots of things. So we need to make sure that people who have some access to manage group membership in one place aren't able to go through and manage membership for groups that are assigned to admin roles in the directory, right? That would be bad. So we're just being very careful about this. We're working through a lot of that, but it's definitely something that we're building out, working on right now. And that's that's about it. This is your key points for your write-up. So you can either feel free to take photos of this now, or feel free to they'll be streaming later. So feel free to go back there. And really, it kind of gets back to the one key point I want to make is, hey, go reduce the number of global admins you have. Right? If you have more than 5, figure out ways to get that under 5, preferably to 2 break glass accounts. Microsoft IT, again, runs, it heavily uses PIM. We highly, highly recommend that. They use alternate accounts. If you can get there, do that. And even if you can go so far as to restrict to secure access workstations. We've developed 12 new roles this year. We've got a bunch more coming by the end of the year. Just keep an eye out on our blog for announcements around that. And again, our top priority is addressing the places where we're still requiring global admin access. And we have a bunch of really exciting, cool stuff coming in the pipeline around custom roles and custom scopes. So please evaluate my session. I listen to all your feedback. We have for folks, so we've got a bunch of other really cool talks that are coming up. Steve here, if you want, he has free activations for a 1-year subscription to PIM. So go talk to him. He's got these voucher cards. Super, super useful. Go try it out. Use it for a whole year. See the value it provides you. So Steve right here, just go find him. You can go park by the door or something. And yeah, that's it. There's a bunch of great sessions. If you can, go check out Mark Wall's session next. If you have questions, happy to take questions.
Yes, so do you have PowerShell module for PIM?
Thank you.